is Ben with KCT here, and we're going to go ahead and check out some different ways to mount your flashlight, because the Big Lumens industry is not telling you things, and they're going to continue to do that because it makes them money. Why? Well, when you buy like a $500 flashlight, it should do everything, and most of them tend to. But the problem is, most of us are pours or approximations of such, so that's a little bit out of our price range to go ahead and buy like a PSA rifle kit or, no. So with that, there are some things we want to consider, because back in the day, it used to be okay to just throw on a 1-inch ring, toss a flashlight in there, and you were good to go. Now you have to have like special buttons, you have to have cable routing, you have to have little clips that attach it, they're all proprietary, all sorts of good stuff. Well, we're going to take a look today. Okay, so here's one of the ways that we mount things, and this is an old Primary Arms weapon light on a VTAC Viking Tactics mount, and with their old school pressure switch. Now, they don't make those anymore or sell them anymore, but you kind of get the idea of what's going on here. So what we want to do is not really look at necessarily where the light is mounted as far as like blast, concussive, muzzle shadow, that. No, that's been done by like a million other people, and maybe I'm one of them, I don't know. What we want to look at though is how do we access this light for maintenance and batteries. So this is a closed-ended light, which means that there is no opening up front, only an opening in the back, just like your mother. And so when people mount these lights, they'll mount them like halfway through the ring, and the rear end of the light will get stuck in there, so you can't screw off the tail cap, you can't screw off the front of it. So this is just done where it's only the tail cap is in the actual mounting ring, and that allows us to just go ahead and just rotate the light itself and have that come right off. And you can go ahead and replace your batteries. Do what you need to do, put it right back on, and this stays the same. Now, what I've seen people do is when they thread this all the way through, is they'll start rotating this tail cap, which has this wonderful wire coming out of it. And what happens is people actually mess up their lights because they'll just sit there and just crank on this thing, and they'll end up disconnecting that in the back. So you never want to disconnect it from the back, because that's no good. It's no good for anybody. But go ahead and pop it out to the front, and then you can just screw that right off. So real simple way to do it, but something that I've seen other people do a lot, and I've done myself to a couple classes. Went to a couple night classes, needed to change the batteries, and guess what? Talked with the green weenie again. Okay, so this is a similar mount. It's the VTAC again, just on the top this time as opposed to the side. And what it's carrying is a Nightcore P10 GT series light and also a pressure switch. Now the Nightcores are a little bit of a different aspect, because not only do they have the pressure switch for the light, you also have crazy things like the strobe and then the regular light and all that good stuff. But on your tail cap here, you also have a constant on. And so now that's something that you need to worry about when you are putting this thing together, because I've seen guys will crunch down on their mounts, and also their constant on will get basically activated while their gun is being like struck by something, or they're running, and applies enough pressure to force that thing on there and turn that light on. So it's not ideal. So I want to make sure that you go ahead and get that out someplace so you don't have to worry about where the button is. So in this case, mine's out here and kind of tucked out of the way. I still have to go ahead up underneath, reach out with the constant on, cover it off. But it is sort of a break your hands to get to it kind of thing, because it's constant on, let's be honest. I've had a couple other ones where I've put them on more towards the inside. I kind of like those, but at the same time, if my thumb goes over the top, I don't want to accidentally strike that button. And when I was a young boy, my father took me to the city, and I used to mount them actually between those slots, but that's living dangerously. So again, we can't do a rear end removal. That's too easy with this, because the way that the cord is. And somebody says, oh, well, you got 80,000 feet of cord. You're right, it still doesn't work. So what we're going to do here is, if you notice, we've actually clamped it right in the middle. So we have the tail cap. It's part of there, it's in there partially, along with the body of the light. Why do we do this? Because this light opens from the front. Lose yourself video, house in the back. And so we can do all maintenance we need to do. We can change the bulb. We can go ahead and swap out the batteries, all that stuff we need to do from the front without having to enter from the rear. So that is another way to do it, and it gives me a nice solid lockup without having the light extend too far over, because again, this is a very, very blasty boy. Little brake arms there, so I don't want it to mess light up too much. All right, so look at another. This one's also pretty similar and actually pretty easy. Like gimbal did. So this is a Surefire G2 Nitron old school boy. So this is also using the same pressure pad, because guess what? The Nitecore P10 GT pressure pad works for this thing too. So we also have our constant on here. She usually gives me a little bit of lumens afterwards. So there's that. Again, it's kind of out of the way where I can reach it if I need to, but it's not something I'm going to go ahead and bump by accident. And in the nice rubberized head of this thing, we can just go ahead and twist the head right off, or we can twist the actual body out of there, mount there. So we're able to still do what we did last time and have that mounted up nice and tight. You can see, we just rotate that body, oh yeah, right out of there. So that's going to give us the option to go ahead and do that from the body or from the head, depending on how you like to do it. Personally, so there is that. Gives us 2 different options to go ahead and access things, because we're not going to count on rotating this thing. And oh, the cable's a mile long. It's still going to strip out eventually when you change batteries. So just another way to do it with the same the same pressure switch, different light, and of course a different mount. This is a Magpul with the Missy Elliott mod. We'll check out that video. Okay, guys. Last but not least, the infamous, the most hated on of all those who say they get hated on rifles, pistols, whatever. The thing that stopped hearts all over the internet, that bothered people that were okay with something called the stiffy plug and whatever else, but that little battery caddy, they just couldn't get around. Guys, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this. This is the Enforced WML. The reason why you buy an Enforced WML is very simple, and it's one reason only. Okay? Okay, the Dragonfly logo. Fuck, dude. Seriously, no. The reason why you want to do that is, on top of there is a front bowstring. And that is basically a backup sight for you for CQB distances if you lose your dot. And you go ahead and witness that up with your rear sight there. I usually just leave it rolled down, and I picked green here because I have a red dot and I want to be able to separate those 2 points of aim, points of impact. It's a very coarse setting picture, but I mean out to like 10-15 yards, you're getting very, very easy torso hits without too much effort. So that is why you do that, and that is why I have this gun set up the way that I do. And there's actually a little standby pad there. I come up the top. There we go. But yeah, that is the only reason you buy an Enforced WML. God, sorry guys, it's late. Is to put one of these on there. If you don't have one and you have an Enforced, you need to get one, because they're making new ones and they're really sweet. So guys, enough of that. Guys, have a great rest of your day. Boy, most of the cool stuff coming up, but it's like 3 in the morning and I gotta go to bed because you have like an hour. So like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tell people that you think that we are cool. Tell them that you think that we're sexy, and naked pictures of B. Arthur. Lots of brake arm stuff coming up. Charging handles. Oh, brake arms. So, guys, it's late. Go to bed. Sleep.